Hi, and welcome back to Classical Coffee for February. I'm here with Betsy Burley, who is the Artistic Director of Providence Singers, which in our performance this Saturday, we will be featuring Providence Singers as the choral ensemble. And this is a group that I particularly like a lot because we did Missa Solemnis a couple of years ago together. It's just a great group. And so welcome, Betsy. Delighted to be here, David. You know, one of the things that I think about with this piece is that creation is it's storytelling. It really is in the tradition of probably for millennia, people have sat around a fire telling the story of creation from whatever perspective they have. And it in many ways shapes who they and we are as a people, our culture. And certainly Haydn has generated a masterpiece of storytelling. Absolutely. And the thing that I just really love about this piece, but beyond just the genius of the music, is that it's very much like a grandfather telling his grandkids the story, because there's this childlike joy and just revealing one thing leads to the next, and then you can almost hear him saying, and then. So you've had a lot of experience with Haydn. Your dissertation was on his Oratorio of the Seasons, and I was just wondering, what is it about this? You've done it, I assume, several times. What is it about this piece that really captures you?
I think you summarized it really beautifully.
Stole your thunder right
well,
there.
It's that his music is so full of life. Mm-hmm. So that childlike joy you were talking about, there's always energy in it. When you think that he was, late in years when he wrote this, but it has this great energy, constantly inventive, constantly doing something new, constantly doing something unexpected, and always somehow being fun at the same time.
Yeah, and there's such great elements of even humor in the story. The way he surprises us. I mean, that's in essence the essence of his music in some respects. But to me, I think one of the ways in which this inventiveness is really portrayed or displayed is in his use of text painting. Now we've talked about text painting before in the context of Messiah, where text painting is where a composer attempts to depict in sound what the text is describing. And there are some just amazing examples, even at the very opening, the depiction of chaos, the void, with this wandering, meandering, formless harmony, cadences that don't resolve. There's even that quote, early anticipation of the Tristan chord in Wagner. It's a remarkable piece of painting, of sound painting, and of course the depiction of "Let There Be Light," which is stunning, a stunning revelation. Stopped the show in the first thing. But let's talk a little bit about text painting from your perspective. In the later Romantic period, Haydn was sometimes criticized in this work because it was of this naive depiction of things. But it really is one of the most charming elements of the music.
And I think that criticism came from that specific time in history. I mean, if you look back, composers text painted for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, even back to the Renaissance. It's really only through the lens of the 19th century did that become something that we criticized. So, that was the Johnny-come-lately response.
Yeah, exactly. There's some wonderful examples. I mean, to me, it's the bass aria, rolling and foaming thunder, depicts the ocean waves crashing, and there's this turbulent theme, and that just depicts, really paints the picture of that. The next section talks about the mountains and hills rising from the water, and this jagged, sharp melody that actually outlines the shape of the mountains and hills. It's things like that. You had mentioned that there's one aria that you...
I love it. It's one of the accompanied recitatives when he's talking about the creation of everything from tigers to horses to snow to hail, and to me, Haydn's playing a great game here, because what he will do is he will have a little piece of music, just 2 or 3 measures long, that's very evocative, and as a listener you think, what's that? And then the bass soloist will sing, oh, the flexible tiger, and then he'll have another 3 or 4 measures of music that is totally different, of a totally different but very specific character. So it becomes a game. It's like, oh, I wonder what he's representing there. And so there's constantly this kind of, you know, it will really draw the audience in if they realize that that's the game.
That's a great way of describing it, because I've always thought that for modern audiences in the day of movies, it's a little odd to be told after you hear something what it is, but that's a great way to describe it. It's like musical charades.
Great way.
You know, you do whatever it is, and then he tells you what it is. That's great. Well, we certainly will talk a little bit more in the next segment about the great choruses, because after all, this is her chorus that's singing, and personally for me, I think the choruses are the defining genius of Haydn, the mastery that he, where his contrapuntal skill and his dramatic skill rose to the peak. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. So we welcome you to come to the Zeiterion Theater on Saturday, February 9th for a performance at 8 p.m. of Haydn's great masterpiece, The Creation.